morning to all. Today we are going to learn about external process of the landforms. What are that external process? So due to the external process, third order landforms are formed. We already learnt about internal process. What is that internal process? We saw that how the rocks, mountains are raised up due to the internal process. In that internal process, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and in that only sudden movements and slow movements also there, landslides. So these are all different kinds of activities are there in the internal process. Similarly, external process also there. What is that external process? What are the activities there? So mostly two important aspects there in that. So what are that? First one it is water, another one it is air. So these two are the main components. Water and air, these two are working powerfully to change the entire surface of the earth, and these two interaction sometimes constructive manner and sometimes destructive manner. Some kind of different kinds of landforms are present on the earth surface. You can observe that rocks and mountains, valleys, and sometimes some land, lowlands. So lowlands are deposited by some kind of rocks and some kind of sand due to flow of water, and it formed as a large basins. Basin means it is in a area, large area. Okay. So mostly these two are the transportation of the different kind of materials. It was brought by the water or sometimes powerful air also. Air means winds. During that rainy season, you can observe that this kind of situation. Water flowing very fastly. Water flowing very fast at the time. And sometimes you can observe during that sometimes cyclonic time, powerful wind, it can change entire structure of the land surface. Understand it is? Similarly, different kinds of, due to this conditions, it leads to formation of different kinds of landforms. The shaping of the landforms by wind and water are called as third order landforms. So this definition was given by geographers. Understand? You can see that some examples. These landforms, including that different kinds of features are there. What are that features? Like carved mountains, valleys. Valleys means V-shaped valleys, and sometimes U-shaped valleys are there. Mountains also, V-shaped mountains are there. Sometimes U-shaped also appearing that, and deltas also formed, and sand dunes also there. Understand it is? And you can see that the process, like different kind of processes there, like weathering and erosion and transportation and deposition. You can observe that weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition. So these are all largely responsible for this kind of landforms. Understand it is? Similarly, you can observe that work of water, due to the work of water, V-shaped valleys are formed, U-shaped valleys are formed. And next, some kind of canyons also there, grand canyons and gorges also there, and waterfalls also formed that. And you can see different kinds of new kind of landforms are formed by these activities only. Meanders, oxbow lakes, glaciers, understand it is, and floodplains. So these are all, and you can observe that in coastal area, due to the work of waves, sea arches are formed, that sea arches, understand this. And similarly different kind of structures appeared in that sea areas only. Mostly you observe that sea cliff, you can see that sea cliff, okay, and cape also there, and bay also there. Bay means, you can example Bay of Bengal, you can see this picture, Bay of Bengal, understand. Similarly work of wind, different kinds of see this picture, mushroom rocks are formed, and Inselberg also formed by the work of wind, and sand dunes also formed by the work of wind only, and lowest plains also formed by the work of wind, okay. And next important one here, different kinds of landforms are formed by the work of wind and water, so it is called as third order landforms, understand. Third order landforms are formed by the denudation process. What is denudation process? It includes several activities: weathering process, and erosion process, and transportation, and deposition. These are all activities combinedly known as denudation process. Denudation process, it is a continuous process. Denudation is a continuous process only. The landforms, the lowlands, what we see today were only once mountains and plateaus. Can you imagine that? Do you understood now? What we see today, lowland areas, once upon a time, it may be the mountains or plateaus. Understood? Landforms continuously keep on changing due to the denudation activities. Means these landforms are continuously, they can changing their shapes due to the denudation activities, but these changes occur very slowly, we can't observe also. It takes millions of years, not in one day, 2 days. Understood now? It takes millions of years. You can observe, you can see here the structure of mountains, plateaus, plains keep on changing through process known as erosion cycle or geomorphic cycle. Understand, it is also called as denudation process. Understand? Right. Now you already know that how these different kinds of landforms are formed. You can see that rocks, mainly rocks on the earth surface. The rocks were formed by the molten material coming from the mantle of the earth only. Understood? The rocks, over a millions of years, they have been changing their shape into valleys or plains, and river valleys cut into mountains and plateaus, and other also there. You can observe how did this happen. Actually, if you see, the hard primary rocks or big primary rocks are broken into smaller pieces. These small pieces are cut off from the parent rock. Parent rock means main rock or primary rock. It is carried to the lower areas and other places and deposited in the particular place only. This kind of process is different activities there. What are that activities? Weathering activity, erosion activity, and transportation activity, and deposition. These are all combinedly called as, we already discussed, it's known as denudation. Denudation means what? It is a continuous process. Understand it is? Right. Weathering process. What is that weathering? The gradual disintegration of rocks by atmospheric forces or weather forces. Atmospheric means atmosphere or weather conditions. The rocks, when exposed means expanded, to heat and expand and contract when cools down. So due to that, weathering process means weather conditions or atmospheric conditions. The rocks were sometimes it exposed to heat, expand. When it receives the heat, it expands and contract when cool down. This happens every day. Means, so during the daytime, fully that hot rocks are receiving that full temperature. When it receives the temperature, heat expanded, heat increased, and contract when cools down. Understand? So this was happening in every day, during the day and day and night. Understand? So throughout the year, it processes continuously throughout the year. During that summer season and winter season, a surface of rock contracts and expands and contracts. Understand this? Again and again, it gradually becomes brittle. Brittle means pressure. It becomes pressure. Brittle means pressure and begins to break down. Water and moisture in the air also helps in this process. Understand? What is that water? What includes in that water? Any chemicals are there? Yes. Water reacts with the chemicals of the rocks and further weakens the rocks. This kind of process known as weathering process only. So at the time, the wicks also water reacts with the chemical of the rocks and further weakens the rock. This process by which the rocks and the rocks are weakened and broken. Weakened and broken. This is called as weathering process. Understand this? Right. And the next topic, erosion. What is that erosion? Flowing of water and wind have a great power and can slowly wear away or cut away the rocks and soil cover in high places. Water acts in many ways. What is many ways? Water acts in that many ways. Many activities are there. What is that? You can see rain, river, flowing of groundwater, or sea waves and glaciers. Different kinds of activities are there. At the same time, see that wind. Do you know that wind means clouds? Do you know that clouds? Yes. Wind to have a large capacity and large powerful. You know, wind too takes many forms like water. Water, you know that water activities like water is raining, river, flowing ground, and sea waves and glaciers. These are all water related. Similarly, wind also different kind of forms are there. Storm, windstorms, and gusts and steady winds. Gusts means powerful winds. During the cyclone, gusts are there, powerful, very powerful. Steady winds means steady only. The activity, this kind of active wearing away of this earth surface means what it is. So these are the two kinds of activities. One side wind and other side water. This kind of activities wearing away of the earth surface means earth surface, changing the earth surface by these moving agents. It's called as erosion. Understand? Another one. What is transportation? Transportation means the erode material. Erode material means what? During that rainy season, some kind of sand from move to one place from another place due to the flowing of water. This is called erode. Or sometimes some kind of lands are cut by the fast flowing winds are fast flowing that water only. Roads, damages of the roads, these are called erode only. Understand it is the erode material in the form of small rocks, gravel, mud and fine soil. Understand this? So these are carried by the winds and water is called as transportation. Understand? The rivers and winds and even waves. Waves means sea waves. Cut the soil and rocks from one place to and take to another place. Understand it is? See, sometimes that kind of material during that fast flowing water, it takes some kind of rocks, materials and other dust particles are taking along with the fast flowing water take from one place to another place and it is deposited in the particular place. When the water lost its capacity or energy, it can particular materials are leave in the particular places only. Similarly, winds also same. During the cyclone time, you can observe during that cyclonic time what happened. Understand? This is only, right? We'll go to that another topic. Deposition. What is deposition? When the rivers and winds slow down, they do not have the force or do not have the energy to carry the materials along with them. At the time, they dumped them. Dumped means they are deposited in one place. This dumped debris help to form plains and river basins only. Understand? This dump debris help to form the rivers and river basins and plains. Much of it is actually transported by the rivers to the sea, and where the layer after layer of these deposits accumulate in the bottom and over time get transformed into the sedimentary rocks. Understand? Work of water. Water also have a force. So due to that flowing of water, different kind of structures are formed and shapes are formed, that V-shaped valleys and sometimes U-shaped valleys. V-shaped valleys are formed by river water or flowing of river water. U-shaped valleys are formed by flow of the glaciers. Understand? See that. So what kind of activities are there? The work of a river begins from its very first, where it is originating place. Generally any river, where it is the originating place or birthplace, mainly high hills or high mountains only. Understand? See that the work of river begins from its very first in the high mountains. While starting time, the river increases its speed from the high mountains. The flow of river water is very fast as it descends, means coming down the steep slopes, and it releases a great force in the cutting the mountain vertically at the time. It's not happened in a 1 day or 2 days. It takes a several millions of years. And finally, as a result of this process continuously, a deep valleys or develops and narrow at the bottom and wide at the top. You can observe this picture, you can understand. This is called V-shaped valleys. Understand? So in this case, water has such kind of force. It can move even very heavy and hard rocks also. Understood? Next, మరిన్ని వీడియోస్ కోసం మా ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి, అండ్ ఫైనల్లీ క్లిక్ ఆన్ ది బెల్ ఐకాన్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.